What's going on, Couch Gamers? Welcome to CouchCast, Episode 8. My name is Jason Overfelt. Reach out to the show at facebook.com/Couch1Gaming or leave us a line on Twitter at Couch1Gaming1. Oh, big week of news. We had a lot of news this week. Let's get into CouchCast's top news stories. All right, we had TGS this week. Sony, Microsoft. I'm not sure if Microsoft even went. That's how irrelevant they are in Japan, because you really didn't hear anything out of them in Japan. But Sony was there, and Sony, there was a lot of stuff coming out of there. Sony, they kicked some ass. A lot of the stuff there, is more Japanese relevant towards that market. Some of the stuff, doesn't come over. Like, I think they had, Phantasy Star Online is coming to PS4. There was no word whether that's coming west, but that's been out for a long time, and it's never come west. So, a lot of stuff like that we'll never see. But there were some big announcements that they announced were coming to the U.S. there. Let's see. The first one for me was, the first and biggest one for me would be Bloodborne expansion. It's called The Old Hunters, and that is coming out November 24th, and they showed a trailer for that, and it looks awesome. Some awesome new bosses in there, a whole bunch of new weapons. Oh man, that is so exciting to see. That I've gone back and forth on what's been my game of the year so far for me, between Bloodborne and Batman, and sitting back now so far, I think it's Bloodborne for me. So I mean, that right there, that immediately jumps to the top 2 or 3 of my list of stuff that's still to come out this year, along with Halo 5 and maybe Tomb Raider or something. I'm trying to think what else. But yeah, it looks so good. The trailer starts off with this it's almost like this gothic, dark music. The music for that trailer is fantastic. It sets a eerily dark tone for the trailer. The 2 specific weapons that stood out for me were there's a bow. I think it looks like a bow blade, where you're shooting a bow from long range, and it looks like it probably turns into a blade somehow. I would imagine it's got to have some kind of melee weapon. And then there's he sticks some kind of stick in his back into these 2 circular blades that spin, so you're swinging this big club with these circular blades that's spinning. It absolutely looks crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get back into playing that pretty soon. From everything that I've read online, is that at least in the Dark Souls games, the expansions start somewhere in the campaign, not usually at the beginning. You don't usually select it from a menu. So I beat Bloodborne, so I'm going to have to get back into New Game Plus and get maybe halfway through New Game Plus, sharpen up on my skills on that, and so I can get into the expansion when that comes out. I'm really looking forward to playing that again. And the next big announcement they had was Gravity Rush Remastered is coming out February 2016. Now, Gravity Rush was a game for the Vita. I did play a little bit of it. It's a pretty decent open-world game. I just didn't... for some reason, I only played a little bit of it. It just didn't click totally with me. And the Vita, I played in spurts. So, I mean, if it's smaller games, I like playing the smaller games on the Vita. This looks like something that I'd definitely like to try on the PS4. And from what the trailer that they showed, it looked really good. It looked much better than the Vita version. So it looks like they put some work into that. They showed up. Gravity Rush 2 is also they're looking for a 2016 release window. So if I had to put my money on it, that would be a fall 2016 release in Japan, maybe the US. Probably, I wouldn't doubt if that gets bumped to 2017 though. That looks even the more amazing. That's built from the ground up for the PS4, and the environments look much better. The buildings look much better. Your character looks much better. So that looks really good. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to play both of those games, actually. And the next big game that's coming out is Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Yeah, it's not the number 2.8, the Roman numeral 2.8. It's kind of goofy. But what that is a remastered version of Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance that was on the 3DS. and a Kingdom Hearts 3 prequel. So they showed the trailer for that, and you can tell the prequel looks much better than the 3DS remake. So that was built from the ground up. And I guess that's going to lead you into what Kingdom Hearts 3, and supposedly that's coming out at the end of the year. I'm not sure if that's coming out for Japan at the end of the year or in the US too. They didn't really specify if that's coming out in the US, but if I had to guess, I'd guess that it's probably getting pushed to the beginning of next year. That's really most of the big stuff for the gaming part that's coming, at least to the US. The other stuff, there was a lot of small Vita games that are probably going to be out in Japan that come here, but I'm not into a lot of that stuff. There was some other stuff. You're getting a price cut in Japan. The UK is getting a price cut, so it looks like they're going to be getting a price cut in the US too. That's at least what Phil Spencer of Microsoft thinks, that PlayStation is going to be announcing a price cut here pretty soon in the US, which is really big news. That right there is going to move a lot of units. That was Xbox's big key thing last fall, was that they dropped the price $50. They were $50 less than the PS4. Plus, they were bundling a whole bunch of games. So that was one of the big reasons why they really, really outsold PlayStation 4 last holiday. I'm sorry. So if PlayStation 4 can reach price parity with Xbox, even though they have a lack of bigger exclusives this fall, I think that they'll be just fine. They've got the Uncharted bundle coming up. That's going to be really big for them. They have this Destiny bundle they just launched with, and supposedly the Taken King is PlayStation's #1 digital day one release. So it's sold the most digital copies of any PlayStation game out so far. So yeah, I bet you that bundle was huge. I wouldn't doubt it. Or there's even a Star Wars Battlefront bundle coming up in November. I wouldn't doubt it if there was a Call of Duty bundle. So yeah, I think this fall they're gonna be just fine. Let's see what else. Andrew House, their president, confirmed to Bloomberg that the PlayStation VR, formerly known as PlayStation Morpheus, they're calling it the PlayStation VR right now, which makes sense. It's a VR thing. They were never going to call it PlayStation Morpheus. That is going to be priced as a new gaming console, and they're aiming to launch it with 10 titles. So what that means for me is that's going to be around, at minimum, $250, and I think that I'm shooting really low with that. I'm going to say around $300, somewhere around there at least. That's probably a really costly piece of tech to make, and yeah, I don't know about this whole VR thing. I'm really excited about it. I want to play that when I go to PlayStation Experience. That's the #1 thing on my list to play is Morpheus. I want to see what these games are about. Hopefully they're not just like little tech demos. I want them to sell me on the whole thing. I want to buy a VR, the PlayStation VR, but I just worry that the cost, the barrier to entry is going to be a lot of money. And you got to worry about the software, because people are not going to be making VR games when the VR installation base is going to be a fraction of what the PlayStation 4 user base is. So I worry about that. So Sony's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting on that, and they have, in my opinion, they have a bad track record with peripherals or their secondary consoles. Look at the Vita. I mean, the Vita is a nice system, but they dropped support of it really early. Was it the PlayStation? Was it the Move? Yeah, the bad track record with that. They've they've abandoned that early. And yeah, it worries me about that. Plus, there's a lot of competing VR devices out there with Valve's Vive VR. What's Facebook's VR? Oculus, yeah, Oculus. Oculus. There's like the Samsung Gear VR or whatever that is. I mean, everybody's got a VR headset. I do think that they have an upper leg with the price factors. I think theirs is probably going to be the cheapest. I think. So I think they have a leg up with that. But yeah, I didn't think it was going to be cheap. People who thought that these VR headsets were going to be cheap were that I don't know what they were smoking, because that was a pipe dream. This is an expensive piece of tech. It's going to cost a lot of money. And right now, the early adopters are going to be like the really hardcore gaming enthusiasts. It's not going to be like the mass market people. It's a hard thing to show off. People, you can't really show it on a TV screen. It's something that one of those things where you have to experience it yourself. So how do you do that? You have to just get it out to all kinds of like Best Buys, Targets, GameStops, everywhere. Have little kiosks set up in the mall or whatever malls, and just have a guy with some wipes to keep wiping it down, and have just people keep putting it on to let these people experience why they need these VR headsets. It's a tricky task. And I think that was pretty much it on the Sony side for TGS. Oh, they did announce they have a whole bunch of new covers for the PS4 that they announced. A whole bunch of new covers. I think it only covers like half of the system. They did that. They have a whole bunch of new controller covers coming out. Like a whole bunch of metallic colors that look pretty cool. The Vita's getting a whole bunch of new colors in Japan. I think here in the U.S. we're only getting like a blue color, which actually looks really cool. I wish there was like a skin that I could put on there. That would be sweet, because the black Vita's kind of meh. The new blue looks really good. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Sony at TGS. The other big news story of the week is that Star Fox Zero got delayed out of 2016 into early 2015. I don't even know what year it is. Star Fox Zero gets delayed out of 2015 into early 2016. And that's kind of surprising, but not really, because that game just, in my opinion, from everything that I've seen of that game, it didn't look very good at all. The control scheme for it looked really awful, to where you're aiming with like moving the gamepad around. You got to look at the actual gamepad screen to see what you're shooting. Everybody who's got their hands on it did not have a good impression of it. But yeah, it didn't look really all that great to me. I don't like those games for the Wii U where you focus on the gamepad screen, because it's not a good looking screen. It's a low definition screen. It's not a high definition screen. It's kind of goofy to have this really beautiful game up top, and you're looking at the bottom screen, which is not a very good screen. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. So, I mean, they don't really have a whole lot coming up. It's crazy that they don't have a big November game. They just had Mario Maker come out, which is getting all kinds of praise. People love it. And I think they got Yoshi's Woolly World coming out, which is it's crazy because that's already out in other territories. It's been out for months, and that's coming out here, I think, in like the next month. Maybe it's probably October. And it's just, from everything that we've heard, it's just an okay game. And then Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out in December, but that's not going to be a big seller, because it's like a niche genre. It's a JRPG, which those don't really light the world on fire here anymore, unless your name is Final Fantasy, and Final Fantasy's been losing a lot of steam too. So yeah, they don't have a big November game. Usually they have a game like the week before Black Friday here, and they've got nothing. So that just shows the Wii U is pretty much dead. I just can't see them supporting that system too much into next year. Yeah, crazy. But that's it for the news for this week, the big headlines. I'm going to get into right now what I have been playing, and I've been playing a whole lot of stuff, really. Started off with Madden 16. I've been doing my Madden Mondays videos every week, where I go through like my ultimate team and open like the 3 to 4 card packs that I get with the promo purchase of the deluxe edition of Madden, which is so awesome. That game is really good, and I love what they've done with the ultimate team. I love like the NFL Journey solo challenges, because
you're not sitting there playing a whole game out. You're only playing. They give you different scenarios for each match you're playing. I started off with you're only playing like 1 or 2 series. Now you're playing a quarter. Now I'm into where I'm playing like mostly a half, where I'm either down or up. We got to preserve a lead or come back, and it's just really fun. It's really fun to get in there, get those scenarios down, get your 800, your 400, 800 coins, and just keep going. The game is really, really mechanically sound. Just a fantastic game. I love sitting there playing maybe 2-3 hours a week of that game. It's really good. Then I started. I think last week I started up Borderlands 2. Right now I'm currently like level 13 in that game. That game is really great. It reminds me a lot of Destiny. There's a lot of stuff in there that I found in Destiny that I really enjoyed, and I love the gunplay in that game. The guns are fantastic. You get the sniper rifle. The shooting feels really good in there. I really love the environmental effects that are on each gun. Like you can throw when you shoot a guy with a fire weapon and you hit him and he just bursts into flames. That is so awesome. They do that much better than Destiny does with their their fire and ice and like void weapons. Yeah, Borderlands 2 does that much better. And you're always constantly getting better weapons. The quests are good. Just overall, I'm going to be playing that game for quite a while. It seems like it's a very big game. Next up, I only played a little bit of Disney Infinity 3.0 on this one. I didn't do a ton this week just because I was playing a lot of Madden, Borderlands 2, and I was playing the next game that I'm going to talk about. But what I did finish the Toy Box Takeover, and that was fun. The Toy Box Takeover, once again, is like the top-down, like Diablo style, where you play from all of Disney's different properties. That was super fun. I played some of that. I played a little bit more of the Rise of the Empire, playing on Hoth. Did a little bit of tooling around with the Princess, Yoda, a little bit more Boba Fett. But yeah, that game I had to put that back on the back burner a little bit, just so I can get play with some other stuff. And the next game that I did play and spent a lot of money on this week is Destiny: The Taken King. Yep, I said it. I did it. I wasn't going to go back into it, but they suckered me back in. Everybody's been saying that the Taken King expansion is fantastic. The story in that it actually has a story this time around. They've done a lot of stuff. They've changed a lot of stuff up. They added a whole bunch of different quests. The weapons look awesome. So what I did, I played Destiny, the original Destiny, on Xbox One, because at the time I didn't have a PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4, they at launch got an extra strike, an extra PvP map, a couple extra weapons, and then with each expanse DLC, they got an extra map and an extra strike. So when I got my PS4 in January, I'm like, okay, well, I think I'm going to get Destiny on PlayStation this time. So I waited until this fall, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get it on PlayStation. So I did buy the Legendary Collector's Edition, because the Collector's Edition comes with a new dance. It comes with, a couple wearable items that gives you some XP boost. I think it comes with like a different name tag or whatever. So I got that edition. I started playing through the stuff. I started a new character over. Well, the first character, when you get the Taken King, you get a little item that boosts you to 25. I didn't use that yet. So on Xbox I had a Titan. So I started a new character. I started a new Warlock. I'm gonna run through the Warlock, the story, and then I'm gonna make another Titan and use the item to get me to 25 automatically. And I'm having a blast playing through the whole story again, which is crazy. It does feel somewhat similar, but it does feel new because they've redone your Ghost voice. Nolan North does the voice, and he has a much different take on the voice of the Ghost than Peter Dinklage does. Peter Dinklage was more of a darker, he's got a deeper voice, and Nolan North has like a lighter, lighthearted, softer voice. Or not, yeah, maybe softer, I guess is the right word. So it feels like you're getting new commands. He sounds like totally different. Plus, what they've done with this new expansion is they went and redone a lot of the stuff. Not the missions, but you get quests from a lot of guys up in the tower, and I think you're always leveling up faster. You're always constantly building your gear up, building your level up. So I mean, if it's scratching that itch of like constantly seeing like the wheels spin and progressing. So it's still interesting, and then that game has the best gunplay in any game that I've played in a long time, really. So that helps right there. I think I've spent enough time away from it to where I want it pull me back in, and I want to do it again. So I can't wait to level up and hopefully get up to these Taken King missions in another week or two, probably. So I've been having a blast with that. And the last game that I've been playing is the NBA Live 16 demo. Last year, I bought NBA Live 15 last year, mainly because I got the trial of that on EA Access, and there was no demo of, I don't think, of Live or 2K15. So I liked what I played of Live 15. It's not a great game, but it's a very easily accessible game. You can get in there. I'm not going to spend hundreds of hours playing an basketball game. So it's something to jump in, play a few games each week, and jump out of. So NBA Live 16 has given me the same feels. Only some improved gameplay, improved graphics, a few more modes that I'm really digging. So I think I might be scooping that up this week. We'll see. I really want to do the Live 16 Ultimate Team again. That's fun. Do that with like how I do the Madden, play a few matches each week, and have maybe like an NBA Live Thursday and put live videos up on Thursday, build my Ultimate Team. The demos, they've got the pro. You can use the app and scan your face and like the build your own player with your face and take them on like a rec league tour, kind of like that, and play. I haven't done that. I did create a character. I didn't do the face scan because they want you to sign in EA's Origin servers, and I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. Fuck that. But what I have been playing just some regular exhibition matches with the Bulls, Cavs, and Thunder, and the animations are much better. A lot of the players they actually play like they do in the game. They look their moves are like the real players' moves. Derrick Rose dribbles like Derrick Rose, or Kyrie Irving dribbles like Kyrie Irving. LeBron does his moves. I mean, they've highly improved on this game. Now it's probably not going to be as good as 2K16 is probably going to has got a lot more features. But they've done a big improvement with this, so I hope it does fairly well. I hope it does better than Live 15 because they're doing much better this year. So next week on the YouTube channel, I'll probably have another Mad Monday video up. I think I'm gonna do some. Finally gonna get into this Shovel Knight DLC, Plague of Shadows. Got to get into that. I've heard some good things about that. Maybe hop in and do some more Disney Infinity videos or some Zeo Drifter. That was September's PS Plus game. So do some of that. But that's going to be it for this week's show. Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe, like, and share our videos and the podcast. So keep on gaming.